Speeding!
What's crackin', y'all? It's the Speed Egg here, coming to you with the first commentary video of the channel, in a series I like to call, How Does the Speed Run? I've been wanting to do this for quite some time, but procrastination, life obligations, and all, but I'm proud to finally get started on this. For this series, I like to go over tips, tricks, route optimizations, breakdowns, and much more from my videos to help teach those that may be wanting to get into Sonic speedrunning, or just want to know what goes on in a speedrun. For this video to start out, I'll just be going over some general information about me as a speedrunner, what goes on behind the scenes of my runs, and just to get to know me more. Now, the first thing to go over... Actually, not very long to be precise. From today, maybe approximately 3 months ago, or however long after this video gets uploaded. But I've done some personal individual level speedruns in the past, though those weren't recorded and were more fun for the time when I was younger. Second answer to the question, I actually got inspiration from an episode from the podcast, the GHZ Podcast, that covered the topic over speedrunning in Sonic games. It piqued my interest in going into speedrunning, especially since I passively loved watching them. I knew I had potential for it, but never had the means nor motivation to try. And with Sonic Origins just releasing at the time, it provided me the avenue to jump in. And a big shout out goes to the GHC for giving me that push. I'll provide links in the description to the channel and Discord. Give the fellas a listen. They're a fun bunch. Now, the next thing is... I've always been a casual gamer at heart, especially for Sonic games. At times, I find myself trying to go through levels as fast as possible the more I get familiar with them, and find it fun doing so. I've always saw the potential of speedrunning in Sonic because of how fun and replayable some of the games were, and just by watching other professional runners go through the games like they do, especially the classic titles. That and Sonic do be going fast, so it kinda goes hand in hand, wouldn't you say? For which games? For right now, it's the classic titles, specifically Sonic 2. 2 was my first Sonic game, the first game ever, so it has a special place with me. I love the other classics heavily, but from a passive speedrunning perspective. I found 2 the funnest and enjoyable to do runs on, due to it also focusing more on challenging you on keeping your speed throughout the stages, and overall it feels the fastest out of the originals. Will I branch out later? Of course. I wish to try the others when I feel like I've mastered 2 enough. More so the challenging of besting myself in competition with others. Watching other runners gives me a push to learn how to go about certain stages and obstacles, as well as trying my own tricks out to see if I can find a better strat. Mostly it comes down to just being fun to do. To clarify, I haven't sped run through all the zones and acts yet in 2, due to my focus on particular levels. That and this might change later. Maybe. To answer currently though, I'd say Emerald Hill is the most fun for me, due to its amazing speedrun potential. I find myself always coming back to it, feeling I can always improve my time even just by a smidge, especially in the case of Act 1 due to having perfect most inputs in it. And Act 2 I'd say is the more fun of the two, for having more precise inputs to do, and overall routing of the stage. For the worst, hardest zone I've run, I honestly can't say. I've enjoyed running most zones due to the different challenges they present, though some do give me more of a headache than others. In this case, I'd have to say that maybe either Chemical Plant Act 1, Casino Night Act 2, or Death Egg. Chemical Plant Act 1 due to the infamous block cycle that's very hard to beat, having to do very precise slope roll jumps, and loop jumps to get fast boosts of speed at the end. But I find this fun because it tests you on the ability to keep pace with your time, and most of all, mastering timing of your inputs. Casino Night Act 2 isn't necessarily a hard one to run, but it's mostly the boss that is a pain to get down precisely due to his extended invincibility frames, and the pinball gimmicks make it only slightly harder. Finally, Death Egg is because of the very precise jumps you have to make on the Death Egg robot and having to hit him 12 times perfectly. I tend to go for the hits on the backside for the fastest strat, though the hitboxes from the legs and jetpack make it very difficult, but if done right, you can beat him in one cycle before he takes off. The best way for me is to watch other runners' previous times. It gives me a basis of the best way to run a level. Since I run the Origins version of 2, I try to compare the runs from the 2013 version, since the two are near the same build quality, because most skips from the Genesis version do not work on these builds, like clips and zips. From there, I adapt the run to the changes Origin has, i.e. drop dash, roll lock, etc., to see if I can bring down the time any differently. I also look up maps of the levels to visualize my runs better. After that, it's trial and error time. Well, that's all I got for the moment, but if you have a question you may have that I might have missed, comment down below and I'll do my best to respond back. Alright, the speed has been ran, and it's time to go. Keep on running, and I'll see you in the next level. And remember, to keep on cracking. Speedak out.